Alright guys, I am super excited to announce my new favorite growth ETF of all time. If you guys follow the channel, you know that I recently made a video on what I think are the best ETFs in the market that have outperformed the S&P 500. We have names like DGRW, DSTL, SPGP, and OMFL. And as mentioned in that video, I think the methodology really is the number one most important thing, and the past performance just indicates how effective their methodology is. Names like SPGP, their criteria is things like 3-year earnings to price growth, sales to price growth, and a bunch of other very important metrics. But I ultimately decided, in my opinion, that SCHG was the best overall fund. It's very basic, which is a selling point. You don't want something too overly complicated because at that point it becomes essentially actively managed. But with SCHG, they look for projected earnings growth and revenue growth. It's market cap weighted, and this is the sector breakdown and the top 10 holdings. A very basic, well-performing growth fund. But I have to say, I wasn't fully satisfied with SCHG. If we look at my portfolio and look at where I've made the most money, somewhat surprisingly, it's the value sector. This is where I've generated the most returns, not growth. And we're taking a look at the methodology of SCHD. There's a distinct difference here between this and most growth ETFs. They're not just looking for earnings growth, they're looking for free cash flow, return on equity, and then things like dividends. They're still keeping it simple, there's not too many factors, but profitability is more of a focus here. So I decided to continue my research and see if I can find something between SCHD and SCHG. So still focusing on growth, but with a quality component to it. And that's exactly what I found with ticker QGRW. First thing I have to say here is this is a brand new fund. The inception date is December 15th of 2022. But as you can see by the name, this is all about quality growth. And this is the index. So they begin with the top 500 US companies by market cap. So it still is market cap weighted. That's a proven technique, so I don't want to mess with that. And then companies are screened for 2 factors, growth and quality, each of which are equally weighted. The growth factor is determined by a company's ranking based on a 50% weight in the median analyst earnings growth forecast, 25% weight in the trailing 5-year EBITDA, and the final 25% weight in trailing 5 years sales growth. Then the quality factor is determined by a 50% weight in trailing 3-year average return on equity and trailing 3-year average return on assets. So it's very similar to a fund like SCHG, but it adds this return on equity and return on assets criteria, filtering for additional quality, not just growth. Again, this fund is new for 2023, so if we go to year to date, QGRW has actually outperformed not just the market, but also SCHG, although it is very closely tracking SCHG. There's a lot of overlap between the two funds, although they're not identical. And one of the big differences is the concentration. QGRW is comprised of only 100 names. So still very diverse, but not overly diverse where you can't get alpha over the general market. And I think 100 holdings is a pretty nice middle ground. Another fund with 100 holdings is ticker SCHD. And that's not the only thing that makes these two funds very comparable to one another. As we saw, return on equity is a common criteria between the two. Where they differ is SCHD is on dividend growth and QGRW earnings growth. And in terms of the composition, the makeup is very similar to SCHG. It's mostly technology at around half, it's 46% right now, and these are the top 10 holdings. Obviously, it's market cap weighted, but it is different than some other ETFs. And it's official in my portfolio, I did sell SCHG and transfer the funds to QGRW. Again, I think overall the returns are going to be very similar to SCHG, just a little bit different with that focus on quality and a bit more concentration. In fact, because I like this growth ETF so much, at least the methodology, the idea behind it, I'm considering doing something like this with my portfolio in the future. QGRW and SCHD work extremely well together. They're essentially mirrors, but for value and growth. And then XYLG, you guys know, is my favorite covered call fund. It's systematic, it covers the S&P 500, and I don't have to worry about active management, and I can still gain a 5% dividend yield. But let me know in the comments below, what growth ETF is your go-to? Let us know. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.